Yeah, and I guess that kind of segues into like the purpose of the paper. What are the solutions? What can companies do to have explainable AI that isn't that black box that they're feeding their information to and not
Oh
being
yeah.
able to point to like, oh, this is how it got to you?
Reflexion tried to take that same framework that we used in much more kind of numerical machine learning model and turned it into a verbal reinforcement. So in addition to now having that more numerical framework for doing machine learning on kind of statistical optimization of those behaviors, these guys actually took it and made it so that you have different LLM agents, one of which is taking actions and others which are criticizing the actions that were taken based on how they're evaluating. So you have to have what we call an actor that takes the actions. You have to have an evaluator which tests the actions to see what the outcome was. And then you have to have a reflector or a critic. And that critic basically takes a look at what the output of the evaluator is based on the last action that was taken, and it criticizes the actor. The only piece of this that really adapts is the actor. The actor changes their behavior until the criticism is muted enough that they are successfully being evaluated. And so what I did in the paper was I applied this to essentially spreadsheets. So now if you take a complex spreadsheet and you upload it, or a series of spreadsheets that you need to be merged together, you can do that in combination with 10, 15, 20 questions, which are evaluation questions, which you can say, once you can answer these questions correctly, you probably read and modeled the spreadsheet correctly or the set of spreadsheets correctly. And what it does is it goes through this loop where the actor tries to read the spreadsheets, the evaluator asks the questions, and then based on whether or not you got the expected answers for the questions or not, the critic then criticizes the actor, and it iterates on that process until it reads the spreadsheet correctly.
Wow, that's
So it's a
pretty cool.
multi-agent solution that actually gives you a way to know when your spreadsheet read has been tested and it's actually getting correct results.
Yeah, and I mean, so it kind of solves a problem because a lot of people are worried about AI testing itself, right? But this is a different situation because there are independent agents that are doing testing or narration or whatever, the acting or whatever. So it is not seeing the data that it's doing. So it's like, hey, this is the correct answer. This is your answer. That's all I have. So in like a traditional reinforcement learning flow, you have parameters that are adjustable, right? The model goes through that and looks at those parameters, says yes, yes, no, no. And at the end, you adjust those parameters to, influence its decision making. And so this is different though. This is not, you're not adjusting parameters here. It's natural language that's adjusting what the actor is doing.
That's what's so interesting about it is you design this whole thing in natural language, and then the evaluator evaluates the natural language response that you get when you ask questions of this model that the spreadsheet import is built from the actor, and then the critic winds up through a natural language prompt giving natural language adjustments or modification recommendations to the actor. And through that system, you over and over again, you iterate on that until you get the correct result. So it's all done with natural language in this case. But because of the few shot learning, that these LLMs have shown to be capable of, you wind up ideally iterating towards the better solution as the process takes place.
Where are the applications that you see for this kind of flow in the financial space?
Oh, I mean, there's so many, but I think right now what's so interesting is if we can just crack the nut of finding a simpler way for people to be able to bring any manager out there, any real business manager, especially any finance manager is going to be sitting on a mountain of spreadsheets. And to be able to get all this done in an AI model so that you could bring that intelligence into an AI model, that is something more interesting to me than what we've really been able to accomplish in decades of building business intelligence dashboarding tools, right? That have had this promise of you're going to get all these answers about your business by organizing your data in such a way that we can build, great charts on top of it. I mean, there was some progress made there, but boy, as somebody who worked in that business intelligence space for a long time, I can't help but feel like it failed to meet its promise of making intelligence simpler for the leaders of these organizations.